You're 19, standing in a Kansas wheat field at 6 a.m., about to climb 300 feet of steel ladder inside a turbine tower with a tool bag on your back and $18.42 an hour waiting at the top. 12 years later, you're signing a project development contract for a 200-megawatt wind farm in West Texas worth $340 million. Between those two moments sits an industry that powers 10% of the entire United States, a job so physically demanding that half the people who try it quit before their first anniversary, and a career ladder that almost nobody outside the trade knows exists. The Bureau of Labor Statistics called Wind Turbine Service Technician the fastest-growing job in America. They printed that. They just didn't tell you what the job actually costs to climb. This is every level of a wind turbine technician's career in America and what it actually takes. If you like breakdowns of how careers actually progress, like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Level 1. The Trainee. You're 19. 6-week wind energy program at Iowa Lakes Community College in Estherville, Iowa. Tuition runs $4,000 to $8,000. A recruiter from Mid-American Energy called the program coordinator in October and said they needed 14 entry-level techs by spring.
Week 1 is safety. GWO Basic Safety Training. First aid, fire awareness, working at heights. The harness fitting takes 45 minutes. The instructor shows you the dorsal D-ring and explains what happens if you're not harnessed correctly. He says it once. The tool bag weighs 30 pounds. You carry it up every training climb. The ladder inside a Vestas V90 hits 240 to 300 feet depending on hub height. Your legs stop burning by week 3. Your shoulders never do. First field rotation, week 5. A senior tech named Dale takes you to a 1.5 megawatt GE turbine in Emersburg. Wind speed, 22 miles per hour. He says, let's go. Inside the nacelle, the gearbox hum hits you in the sternum. Dale points at the oil sight glass. He tells you to read it. You read it. He doesn't say whether it's right or wrong. He writes it down. That's the job. Pay, $18 to $22 an hour. BLS 2023 median, entry level, $21.04 an hour. First paycheck after taxes, $692. You buy mechanics gloves and a Fluke multimeter and spend the rest on rent. Level 2, the Wind Tech 1. You're 21. W-2 from Vestas, Siemens Gamesa, GE Renova, or a third-party O&M firm. Base wage, $23 to $28 an hour. Site in West Texas or Wyoming means per diem, $85 to $110 a day on top of base. Your site is 150 turbines outside Sweetwater, Texas, the wind energy capital of the world. The turbines are GE 1.577s. Your job is scheduled preventative maintenance, gearbox oil samples, hydraulic filters, pitch bearing inspection, yaw ring grease, hub bolt torque, SCADA data download. Every step documented, every torque value written. The work order closes when every line is signed. In July, a turbine trips at 2 a.m. Fault code, pitch system fault, blade B. You drive out, climb, open the pitch cabinet in the hub, find a cracked circuit board. You photograph it, log the part number, call supply chain, and wait 4 days for a replacement from Denmark. 4 days offline costs the owner roughly $550 in lost revenue. That is why you don't wait. The hardest part isn't the height, and it isn't the cold. It's the fatigue schedule. Wind doesn't take holidays. You learn to sleep in your truck on a field access road with the heat running and a thermos wedged between the seat and the door. Pay? $58,000 to $72,000 total with overtime and per diem. BLS 2023 median annual, $61,770. Level 3. The Senior Technician, Wind Tech 2. You're 26, 4 years O&M experience, GWO Advanced Rescue, AWEA Wind Turbine Technician Level 2 credential. Pay, $30 to $40 an hour. Total comp with per diem and overtime in Wyoming, $90,000. You are the tech the junior techs call when the fault code doesn't match the troubleshooting guide. The job that defines this level, main bearing replacement on a Vestas 100-1.8 outside Casper, Wyoming, February. The main bearing holds the full load of 3 spinning blades, 45,000 combined pounds. When it fails, the turbine is down until replaced. Heavy lift crane, crew of 6, 3 to 5 days. Tuesday morning, 4 degrees Fahrenheit, 18-mile-per-hour wind. You're inside the nacelle at 270 feet with a 900 foot-pound torque wrench, doing this from memory because the tablet screen doesn't work in gloves. One bolt won't break torque. The 2,000 foot-pound gun just spins. You heat the shank with a propane torch. It breaks loose at 3 p.m. The crane sets the new bearing Thursday. Commission Friday. The turbine produces its first kilowatt-hour at 11:47 a.m. You note the time on the work order. You also start mentoring. The tech who fumbled his harness buckle at the base last spring is your responsibility now. You check his harness before every climb. Level 4. The Site Manager. You're 31. Total comp $95,000 to $130,000. You manage 80 turbines outside Dodge City, Kansas. 200 megawatts under a 20-year PPA with Everty. 4 techs report to you. You don't climb every day. You read the SCADA dashboard every morning from a prefab trailer with one good chair. You know the site's capacity factor for the last 12 months, 39.3%. The PPA penalizes you for availability below 95%. Your site is at 96.1%. That number is your entire job. In April, Turbine 47 shows metal particle counts above threshold. Vibration analysis confirms Stage 2 planetary gear wear. You call the asset owner in Chicago and tell him the gearbox has 60 to 90 days before failure. He asks if you can run it longer. You tell him, if it fails catastrophically instead of gradually, you're looking at secondary damage to the main shaft and emergency crane rates. Double the cost, 3 weeks added downtime. He approves the planned replacement at $200,000 to $350,000 installed. You also manage safety. One November morning, 2 techs want to climb in 38-mile-per-hour gusts. You say no. One size, you write the weather hold in the log. 4 hours later, the wind drops to 28. You send them up. The site manager across the county line made the wrong call on a windy day in 2016. The tech fell inside the nacelle, broke 2 vertebrae, survived. The manager lost his job. The company paid $1.4 million in OSHA fines and civil settlement. You know this story by heart. Every site manager in the Midwest does. Level 5, the Regional O&M Manager. You're 38, 7 sites across Kansas, Oklahoma, and the Texas Panhandle. Combined 1,100 megawatts. Total comp $130,000 to $175,000 with bonus tied to fleet availability and cost per megawatt hour. 28 direct reports. You work out of Amarillo and a Chevy Silverado on I-40. You drive that corridor so often you know which mile marker has the only gas station for 40 miles. Budget this year? $14.2 million operating expense. You're 11% under through Q3. The Chicago Portfolio Director's quarterly scorecard highlights your region in green. Tech retention is the real job. Wind O&M turnover runs 18 to 28% annually. Good techs leave for offshore wind off Massachusetts and New Jersey, starting pay 30% higher than onshore. You can't compete on wage. You compete on culture and schedule. A 47-year-old tech named Carlos calls on a Thursday. 9 years with you. GE Vernova Offshore at Vineyard Wind, $42 an hour plus offshore day rates. You match what you can. You can't match offshore day rates. He leaves. You promote as junior tech, hire from Laramie County's program, and absorb the gap. Level 6, the Development Director. You're 44. You finished an MBA online over 3 years while running Amarillo. Now you're in the room where the wind farm gets decided. Total comp, $180,000 to $260,000. Your current project, 200-megawatt greenfield development in Upton County, West Texas. Mean annual wind at hub height, 8.9 meters per second. P50 annual energy production, 742,000 megawatt hours. Capacity factor, 42%. The PPA negotiation with a Fortune 100 tech company for their Texas data center fleet ran 6 months. Strike price, $22 per megawatt hour, 20-year fixed. Tax equity investor, $180 million. Term loan, $210 million. Sponsor equity, $90 million. Total project cost, $480 million. $2.40 per watt installed, low end for 2024 because the site is flat and the interconnection is favorable. 40 Siemens Gamesa SG 5.0-145 turbines. Hub height 165 meters. Each blade tip reaches 236 meters into the Texas sky. The crane that sets the nacelles is a Liebherr LTM 12000-9.1, the largest mobile crane ever built, rented at $180,000 a month. You're on site the day they set the first nacelle. You have climbed into nacelles 600 times. You have never watched one go up from the ground as the person who built the deal. It is a different experience. Commercial operation, November 3rd. SCADA shows 40 turbines online, 198 megawatts real-time. You text Carlos. He texts back one word: beast. Level 7. The exit, or the founder. You're 52. A major renewable developer acquires the platform. The deal values your division at 14 times EBITDA. Your carried interest in 3 projects converts. The wire hits on a Tuesday in October. Non-compete runs 3 years. You stay on as VP Development for 24 months under earnout. At month 26, you drive past Upton County on US 67 at 5:30 a.m. and watch 40 turbines turning in the dark. Blade tips moving at 175 miles per hour, slow and enormous from the highway. You don't stop. The site belongs to an infrastructure fund now. You built it. That is enough. Or you start your own shop. $2 million in seed capital from 2 former colleagues, a land option in Dawson County, Texas, 12 landowners signed in 14 months, your own Met Tower, your own energy study, first independent development $310 million total project cost, your sponsor equity carry 20%, net proceeds at exit roughly $18 million. You are 58. The Fluke multimeter from Level 1 is on the shelf in your Austin office. The GWO harness is in the truck, which you still drive to sites, not because you have to, because you know what a wind farm sounds like at 5 a.m. when the whole site is spinning and nobody is watching, and the people writing the checks have no idea. Here is the part nobody prints on the BLS website. Wind Turbine Technician is the fastest growing occupation in America, 60% projected growth through 2032. The solar installer is second at 52%. Every other job in the country is single digits. The United States added 22 gigawatts of new wind capacity in 2022 and 2023 combined. Each megawatt requires 1 to 2 technicians for the life of the project. A 20-year PPA on a 200-megawatt farm means 200 to 400 technician years of full-time work on a single site before the first turbine is repowered. The job that looks like it gates on a harness and a climb certification gates at its ceiling on a project finance term sheet and an ERCOT interconnection queue number. The distance from the ladder at Level 1 to the conference room at Level 6 is 15 years. 1 MBA finished on a laptop in a hotel room in Amarillo, and a willingness to be the only person in the room who actually knows what a main bearing replacement costs in February in Wyoming. The turbine you climbed in Emmitsburg is still running, 23 years old. The landowner who signed the original lease is collecting $4,800 a turbine per year in royalties. He donated $40,000 to the Iowa Lakes Community College Wind Energy Program the year after the farm went online. His name is on a plaque in the lobby. The farm produces enough electricity for 40,000 homes every year. Every year. In blizzards, ice storms, and heat, because someone climbed a tower. That someone was you.